Welcome back to episode 3 of the Everything Motor Racing podcast. We are back off of the back of a hectic weekend at Qatar of race 1 of 2 at the Losail International Circuit. I'm joined here by Jacob Ward from Now Moto.
Hi guys.
And Keelan McNamara.
What's up everybody? How are we all doing?
We hope you enjoyed the first episode. We've had a lot of good response, so that's always positive to hear. We're back with upgraded technology, so including new microphones, so hopefully a better listening experience for you all. So we've had a bit of a crazy weekend at Qatar, haven't we?
Yeah, mental. If I had a swage offer every time it was in Moto 3, I could buy myself a Porsche. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Moto 3 was carnage as normal. I mean, even back to Friday, it was a bit chaotic with, obviously, lap times being kind of okay before Saturday's carnage where lap times were just utterly destroyed in Moto 3 and MotoGP.
Yep, the tailwind definitely helped there.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at Zarco's top speed record of 362.4 kilometers an hour, which is 225.19 miles an hour, which is pretty speedy, that, isn't it?
Yes, and he was using the new aero fairing, so that's quite an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, because obviously I don't know what they're doing with Ducati, but it looks like they've got Mach 10 installed into their motorcycles as they're flying down that straight.
I swear to God, I think these Ducatis are running on rocket fuel or something because I have never seen speed like this.
Yeah, not on two wheels anyway.
Exactly.
Mugello is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
I am a little worried about the Mugello because it's not quite as straight. And
No.
Also, what happened to Pirro a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Marquez before that.
Worried, but I think if they've done their homework on the downforce, it won't happen. So you'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's going to be riding that Ducati around there, it'll be Pirro, and he'll definitely be doing that before, I'm sure.
Yeah, he knows what it takes, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, exactly. And we head into the weekend with a few kind of additional things and new rules in the year, because obviously last year was a bit chaotic with track limits. I mean, you only have to talk to Jorge Martin, who will, he's not too impressed with what happened last year at I think it was the Styrian Grand Prix. I know it was at the Red Bull Ring.
Yep, that's right. It was just a second race.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he basically, if you didn't see it, basically what happened was he came out of the last corner and went onto the green on the exit of the corner. Basically, the previous rule was if both your tyres go onto the green, it would mean that you lose your entire lap time. On the last lap, it means you lost. Basically, if you're in P1 on the last lap and you touch the green with both tyres, you have lost the race win. This is basically what happened with Jorge Martin, but the issue was Francesco. Yeah, 46 guys took start. Oh, chaos. Yeah, Marco Bezzecchi was right behind him, and if you slow it down enough, frame by frame, you can see that Bezzecchi was also on the green both tyres.
But if you get into that VAR style stuff, then
yeah, exactly.
Trust me, it doesn't work for football. I don't want to go to GP.
Just stop the race. Stop the race.
Just pause it. Jam the brakes on exactly where you are.
Yeah, jam the brakes on. Mike Webb comes out right then. Let's have a look. Just looking at the screen.
I do think that Martin was clearly on the green.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it was marginal, you know what I mean?
Bez is the controversial one because Martin would say till the cows come home that Bezzecchi was on the green, but Martin and everybody else, no, not everybody else, I just completely screwed that up. So Martin would say that he's on the green, but it comes down to
well, the reality is
opinions.
Millimeters measured unless it's at the start and finish line. That's the only time that's acceptable.
Yeah, which is why this new rule has come into place. So the new ruling dictates that even if one of your tyres touches the green, it means that you will lose that lap time. They have now pressure sensors on the green outside of each corner. Riders obviously detects the pressure.
The rumble strip and land on the green whatsoever. The pressure sensors are quite literally on the entirety of the green.
Yeah. So
if you even touch it, the pressure sensor will detect the change. Detect which rider it is, and you lose that lap if you qualify in, and get a track limits warning if you do it enough. as
Yeah.
per usual.
Yeah, and obviously that is backed up by the video evidence as well. So they've obviously got cameras situated around the circuit, and if they catch a rider doing it, it'll ping up on the radar, and they can obviously check the footage to see who it is.
Yep.
The issue is, I mean, there's only one rider who we know about, but I'm sure there's more than one. But John McPhee has confirmed that it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's I found that quite strange that he's the only one.
Yeah, I mean, there might be
Yeah.
more, but
I've not actually seen the video of him running off either.
no.
Just said he ran off.
Yeah, he said it went off, and basically he didn't have his lap time cancelled, which is a bit interesting.
But he may have thought he ran off and didn't, because there's no video footage.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
really
maybe he does.
strange. It's definitely a really strange position with McPhee because, like you just said, he did it and yet nothing went off. So I don't really know what you do. The football analogy is kind of appropriate because there's going to be controversy no matter what you try and do, no matter where you look.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know how much I agree with restricting riders, especially with something as powerful as a MotoGP bike. You kind of need a bit of leeway, especially coming out of a corner. So they're kind of creating controversy for themselves either way, and
But
they
track
definitely need
limits
to.
exist for a reason.
Yeah, stop people
Oh,
cheating.
that's true.
Everybody has to adhere to the track. Like, everybody's in the same boat. Like,
Yeah,
if you just,
that's
if you
true.
just go on the green once, and everybody's gonna, take and make, aren't they? So I
Yeah,
think that
but
just completely not allowing you on the green, I think, is a good shout. I think it's better than the one wheel on, one wheel off, because then it's just, I think it's smart.
yeah, I agree with you there for sure, Jacob. At least with this new rule, there is much more clarity about what's allowed and what isn't. But that's kind of where I stand on it. Obviously, there's a reason why we have a track, and everybody has to stay on it. But
Motocross.
yeah, exactly. But it just feels like they're creating more problems with themselves because not only have they made this new rule, but someone like John McPhee has found that it actually doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they have to do, but they've got to sort it out for sure.
Yeah, because otherwise we'll just end up with another horrifically controversial situation where,
Exactly.
like Bezzecchi gained his first ever race win from that, and it's got to be a bit gutting, isn't it? Like, oh yay, I've won the race, but at the expense of another rider. You know, you haven't actually finished the race in first place.
Yeah.
And
But I think the issue is that it's like with cars, you can have two wheels off and two wheels on.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Like your axles are good few, like a meter wide. Whereas with bikes, you are in line unless you're Marc Marquez. But
yeah,
you're in
just
line.
coming out corner, back end out, like.
Very true.
And for that, it's a case of, I think this is the smartest thing they could have done because it takes all the guesswork out. I think I'm erring on the side of McPhee. I think thought he came off track, but didn't, because nobody else has said anything about it.
I mean, yeah, it could have just been that McPhee thought he did, but he didn't.
Or maybe that he went on one of the green triangles, which are still legal.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting that. And
Even though
obviously,
that's what messed up Martina Bezzecchi, but
yeah.
the triangle follows onto the green, whereas I think at Qatar, the triangles don't lead into other green.
It's just because we don't have any video footage, we can't exactly like go, "Wait, that's it, concrete evidence," you know.
Yeah.
So it's all a bit of guesswork until we obviously see it happen on the camera, and we're like, what's going on there?
Yeah,
Exactly,
I'm
that's the
prepared to
problem.
give it the benefit of the doubt until I'm proven otherwise.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Moving on, we've had a bit of a rumour that's come around this week. Obviously, we know that Andrea Dovizioso will be testing in Jerez next month, and he'll be testing for Aprilia, the new RSGP, which is amazing. We're really excited for that one, especially considering that Savadori hasn't done the best in the race. But we'll get onto that in a little bit. But basically, provided the first test goes well with Dovizioso and Aprilia, Dovizioso? I just said Dovizio. Desmo Dovi. Well, he's not Desmo Dovi anymore, is he?
No, Ale Dovi.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just Dobby now.
I do like that.
You'll
No
be
Ale.
testing Mugello, May 11th and May 12th.
Yeah.
If it goes, now to me, Mugello is the best place he could go.
Yeah, because he knows it really well.
Like, motorbike that turns.
Yeah.
And if you ain't able to turn at Mugello, you ain't gonna turn.
No.
Because all is such flow to it. Like, give or take, Mugello is the perfect track for testing whether a bike is comfortable because it flows into itself. It's such a nice place.
It's a gorgeous track. Love it. And the corners are just, they just work well. Long sweeping corners, and then you've got some tight ones. Like the 180-degree T1 as well. So
yeah. Mugello in a weird way actually. Mugello actually kind of reminds me of Losail a lot in many ways. And what I mean by that is you have these obviously beautiful flowing turns at Mugello, and then you lean lightly out of whatever the last turn is, you lean left out of it, and then you've this enormous long straight up to the end, and then you of course have that tight hairpin up into turn one. So I absolutely agree with you both. I think this is the perfect place for Dovi to test, and it clearly points to the notion that Aprilia want more of a relationship with Dovi than just testing in my eyes, because he hasn't even done the Jerez test yet, and yet they've already got him doing another test in Mugello too. So I think there's I think they're giving us much more substance to the idea that they're looking to bring in Dovi at the expense of Lorenzo Salvadori.
Sava, unfortunately, like without wanting to spoil it for later, he was
way off.
Dead well.
He was miles off
because there was a technical issue, but then the 17th would be the first rider who would have been close to without a technical issue.
Yeah, and he was 23 seconds off.
Yes, 23 seconds.
23 seconds. And in a 22-second lap break, which means he was off a second a lap.
Yes.
And he was 46 seconds behind, which means he was about 2.1 seconds slower than Maverick Vinales.
But again, same as everything with Qatar, I'm reserving my judgment until the
yeah, of course, yeah.
But right now, the signs are pointing towards
like what's going on here? But
so for Dovi to test is definitely a right call, and if Sava continues the way he's going, I can see him off the bike before the season ends, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
They've not been the most patient of manufacturers in the previous, so yeah.
It's not great. I mean, I still would prefer Sava on the bike over a lot of the riders they've employed previously, but when Dovi's an option.
Yeah, you're always going to take Dovizioso. He is arguably one of the best riders. I mean, he's 35 now, but he's still got it. He won a race last year. He's still got it.
Yeah, and he's got the brain to go with it now, the experience brain.
He's ridden Honda. He knows what Ducati works. So if he basically transformed the Ducati Rossi got off into a race-winning machine, obviously with the help of Gigi. So they've got obviously F1 technicians over in Aprilia. His expertise can majorly overhaul that bike even further than what it is already, because they've obviously got the kilometer deficit on the straights.
Yeah, that's the problem. Once they figure out how to make that bike rocket ship along with the downforce, the rest of the field can watch out.
Yeah, and of course, there's no rider who carries the pedigree of developing the bike the way Andrea Dovizioso does.
Yeah.
He's the only person to ever factually, consistently take it to Marc Marquez. For I think it was 3 seasons in a row, he finished second to Marc.
Yeah.
So Dovi knows what he's doing, and like Declan said, and he's absolutely right. He's there's a reason his nickname's the Professor. He's unbelievably intelligent when it comes to his knowledge of the bike. So he really, like I said on the last podcast, he really could be the one to unlock the potential. I really do think he could be.
I agree with you. I think he's the next step I really need.
Yeah.
He's definitely the future of the brand.
I wouldn't say future, but
no, that's a really bad word.
But he needs to be the current.
Yeah. Like the current is in like future, maybe 2022. Because
what he needs to be is the base for Aprilia to attract riders.
Yeah, they need, because it was pretty depressing at the end of last year when they were basically just going through each rider on the list going, do you want to ride for us? No. Do you want to ride for us? No. Do you want to ride for us? No.
I reckon they would go around the paddock with a scale model of the RA.
Do you want it? Like Joe Roberts was like, no.
Yeah, even Canet and DG turned it down. Like.
Yeah, I mean, That says it all. If you've got Joe Roberts, who American in MotoGP, it'd be amazing.
But how many of them might be regretting it? Looking at the current bike.
Honestly, I don't think any of them would be. Like, truthfully, I don't think they would be.
I don't know. I think someone like Canet could, with his aggressive style, could get on that thing and really wow people.
He could, but he could also turn his career. You know what? Aprilia are like ruthless with riders. Even Sam Lowes, who was a rookie. So if you get Canet into the team, they've provided, like, Lowes was a world champion, and then Canet is really quick. But if he gets into there and doesn't perform the way Aprilia want him to, they could sack him off, and his MotoGP career could be down the pan after 1 year.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, if I was a Moto2 rider and they approached me, I would definitely write the contract with no break clause. You can't sack me after the first one unless, I want out.
I mean, it happened to Scott Redding too.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I think based on that, I would say to Aprilia, I want at least 3 years. You can't get rid of me unless I mutually agree.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, tough. I got a ride anyway in Moto2.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a tricky one with Aprilia, but I personally wouldn't go for it. I mean, I'm just a guy on the end of a microphone, but again, if I was...
I think it's a race-winning bike that I haven't won yet. So. Yeah,
it's definitely competitive, and I think if they had the right rider on it, they could definitely take it to the next level. And Dovizioso is that rider. You don't want to ruin the Moto2 rider's career before it's even begun.
Exactly. Dovi has nothing to lose, really.
Yeah, he's nothing to lose. Paddock. Whereas the other riders are in the paddock and literally have their entire careers ahead of them that could just go down the toilet. I mean, if Joe Roberts went into that team now and after a year screwed himself up, he could be back to Moto America next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that he wouldn't sort of screw it up. He's a fantastic rider after all. But you know what Aprilia are like? They do not care.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they're very Italian in their work, didn't they?
Yeah.
Joe bet on the smart money by going to Edeltrans. One of the best Moto2 outfits, home of the current Moto2 champion Enea Bastianini, who we will of course get on to later. But he did the smart thing. Aprilia for the last couple of years has unfortunately been a poison chalice, and we've just outlined how that is the case. But if Andrea Dovizioso can become the Dani Pedrosa or the Sylvain Gintoli of Aprilia and go to them and say, right, get rid of this, 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 and this, and we need this and this, then there's absolutely no reason why they can't become an actual top contender, because what they are missing is one big piece, and Andrea Dovizioso has the intelligence to be that piece. I think it was actually Jacob who mentioned on the last podcast, when Pedrosa went to KTM, he went to their engineers and said, right, get rid of X, Y, and Z. He could work out straight away what he hated about the bike. Dovi can do that for Aprilia, and if he does do that, then there's absolutely no reason why they can't finally achieve a race win or two. Yeah. They just need that one missing piece, and I think Dovi could and would be it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dovi is the one. I mean, it's funny with Aprilia, though, because you've had every rider linked up. I remember it was a little tinkle of a rumour. I don't know what substance behind it. But even Max Biaggi was linked to it at one point.
Yeah, there was when Iannone was banned.
Yeah.
They had a choice between giving Sava or Biaggi a ride, because in the RSVX, and it was really quick.
I mean,
so that would be wild. But...
That'd have been hilarious.
I'm just picturing Biaggi back in the grid.
Biaggi just storms into the paddock. Ross is like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, apparently Max was as quick as Sava.
Fair play, fair play. I mean, you don't lose it.
I thought, oh well, that just shows how good Sava is. But now I think maybe Biaggi just never lost it.
Yeah, I don't.
And I rate Savadori, I do. But
yeah, me too. Yeah,
he's slightly out of his depth. Yeah,
he's just been thrown right in the deep end. He was really good as a test rider. I think his test rider capacities are not to be laughed at. And he's been with the Aprilia 8 years now, because he raced for them in the Stock 1000 years ago, and he won them the title in the CIV last year. So it's not like he's slow, but MotoGP is just a different level at the end of the day.
It's cutthroat now. It's the lion's den.
Yeah. It's just literally
weakness. You're at the back.
Yeah, exactly. Just All right. Moving on. So obviously, because we could talk about Aprilia forever, but we don't want to run on too much. So, obviously, the last podcast, it was on the 21st of May. May? No, we're not that far into the season. 21st of March. So it's 21st of... yeah. So it's...
not confirmed.
Yeah. Well, at that point, Dovi would have already ridden the Aprilia, so we'd probably be talking about that. But, so last time we recorded it was the 21st of March. And the day after, obviously, we recorded it with the thought that Marquez was going to potentially ride at Qatar. And the day after, obviously, he decided to just screw it all up. Screw it up. Just to screw it up for us, if I can finally get my words out. So, yeah, he decided to basically screw it up for us, which is really nice of Marc. And basically decided that he wasn't going to ride and he wasn't going to race either Qatar 1 or 2. And would basically have a doctor's checkup on the 12th of April, which is the Monday before the Portimao race.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah, funny that. I think he's obviously ridden Portimao last week, so he's got some experience on an RC 213 VS, so he kind of knows the circuit on a bike very similar to his current bike.
Yeah, similar but different.
Yeah, so what do you... Yeah. So, what do you think? Is he going to race it? Is he not? Is he going to be?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, he's going to race. He obviously felt strong enough at Qatar, and there was just a little something because he had to test.
Yeah.
Now, to me, if he's going to schedule another one for previous Portimao, he obviously feels strong enough.
Yeah.
And it's whether he can just that thing that held him back from racing Qatar, which is it's a good moment of time for healing, and almost even though he's not healing, he's building. He still needs to heal.
Yeah, he does.
So for me, an RCVS is close, as I said last time, close but not quite. It's like 90%. If he's happy with it and he thinks he can ride, then great. And I think he will give it a bash at Portimao.
Yeah.
I've got one concern about returning at Portimao. As we know, especially of course from last season's unbelievable race with Miguel Oliveira, Portimao is an incredibly fast and it's a very physical track as well, and it has that jump that of course has become notorious from World Superbike. Does that jump lead into a right-hand turn? I think it does.
It's left.
No, it's
left.
Oh, it's a left turn?
Yeah,
it is.
Jump, you go uphill left, and then you sort of plateau for a little bit into a right downhill.
Yeah, I mean, the right downhill's the last corner. Yeah, because you got T1, which basically is a right, then you got another right, and then you go over the hill, then it's a left.
Yeah, uphill left, and then you've got the small straight into a hairpin, which is I think that's going to be the most helpful. The massive braking.
Yeah, downhill braking.
Yeah.
And the hairpin, so at least there's one each.
Yeah, because there's a downhill braking on the straight, and then there's a downhill before that little hairpin as well. So that will be probably the toughest parts of the circuit, and obviously the last corner, that long sweeping right.
Do you know what? I don't think it's going to matter which way he's playing about itself. It's just such a physical track.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I think he'll give it a bash, but whether he won't be enthused by what he's seen from Honda so far this season.
No, he's gonna be like, "Come on, sort it out." But I have to say,
still not quite right on it.
It's not, but Paulo Spargo did really well. I'm really impressed.
Yep.
Really impressed.
Yeah, I think Marc is going to go out for FP1 and possibly FP2.
Yeah.
And that's going to tell him everything about where his arm is at on the RC213V.
Yeah.
Now, depending on whether his arm holds up properly or not, I think Honda will assess it from there. I think if he feels any kind of tweak or if his arm is not at 110%, he should not race. But of course, we know Marc, he's not going to come out and admit that he's in pain because all he wants to do is ride the bike. So Honda have to monitor him really, really carefully. Like I said, I think he'll go out for the free practices and they will monitor him extremely closely. And all we can really do is take it from there because this is just speculation at the moment. None of us truly know, apart from Marc Marquez himself, what condition Marc Marquez's arm is in.
Yeah.
And they can only take it from there. So we're not going to know anything until we see Portimao, what Marquez has actually recovered and what level he's at. But he will
Yeah.
go out for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to make any predictions because I said he'd be back in Qatar. Look at that.
Yeah, we all did. Well, apart from Keelan didn't. But we both were like
I'm just
dead
gonna
set on
say
it.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's more possible than Qatar, definitely.
Yeah, just sit on the fence on this one for now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look like an idiot again. So
I mean, we're pretty good at that, so it's fine. Nothing out of the norm there.
But the fence sitting are looking like an idiot.
They're looking like
Yeah.
an idiot.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Right. Moving on to race day. I mean, come on, what a day of racing.
Oh,
yeah, unbelievable.
madness.
I think Moto 3 was the best. Which
Moto
isn't
3's
the
always the best. Come on.
best. And MotoGP was just MotoGP.
Yeah, MotoGP. The last lap.
Yeah.
Even on the straight. Couldn't believe it.
One thing I do want to mention is
Yeah.
in Moto 3,
Okay.
if you're one of the people who is giving Xavi calling him names, all horrible names,
Yeah.
being completely horrible about a 17-year-old rookie in his second race for making a mistake, then you need to stop because you are the worst type of person.
Yeah, have a good hard word with yourself because, I mean, I've spoken to some riders who've actually raced against him about it because he raced in the rookies, he raced in CV, and all of them said he's not dangerous. We've watched him race.
I think it was just a case of a rookie at Qatar. Qatar is a dusty track.
Yeah.
He was offline.
He was in the dust quite clearly, and he basically just ran out of room. And because it was obviously with the entrance to the corner, you have to be far right. He was far left, so clearly he'd been pushed offline, and then that was it. It was just literally.
So if you were one of those who's just saying, "Oh, this kid, blah blah blah," just sort yourself out.
Yeah, because the amount of abuse I've seen on social media to him is just not fair. He is a rookie. He is literally just trying his hardest at the end of the day. He's got a massive reputation already in the class.
This is a kid who couldn't legally go to a pub.
Yeah, like, come on. Yeah.
Honestly, some of the stuff I've seen from people, but at the risk of shut by many British people, I think it was because of who he hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it was all British people. Like all the people we saw were just British people slagging him off.
To the next point I want to make, which is he took out 4 riders:
Yeah.
John McPhee, Andrea Mino.
He took out 3 riders.
Yeah, and himself obviously.
Yeah.
McPhee, I feel, is one of those riders who maybe I try to word this in a way that doesn't sound disparaging, but I think his racecraft needs work.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that he always seems to be mixed up in these incidents.
Right in the banging smack in the middle of it.
Yeah, every single time. Now,
yeah.
Is that his racecraft and track positioning? Because you can't be unlucky that many times. This is not an isolated incident.
No.
Either he is being hit, or he's doing the hitting, i.e. Barcelona with Arenas.
Well,
now,
or Alcoba last year at Le Mans.
Yeah.
He got smashed off.
No, I think this is the reason McPhee has been in the class for 9 years.
Yeah.
Is that teams are looking at his racecraft, which isn't improving, and quite frankly, I don't think he deserves a Moto2 ride.
God, Jesus! There's only been one race. Calm down.
I'm basically on 9 years.
Not making any predictions. Where did that
based
go?
on what I've seen the last 3 years, especially, where he's been at the top and he has his days.
Yeah.
But his racecraft overall hasn't improved. If anything, it's gone backwards slightly because he always seems to be in the wrong place of the track at the wrong time. Now,
yeah, he's definitely unlucky, that's for sure.
I don't think it's luck though. I think it's racecraft, and he needs to work on it if he got any growth. Because clearly, there's a reason teams haven't picked him up or promoted him to a bigger bike, and I think that's it.
Could
yeah,
be.
there's a couple of different aspects to the narrative of what happened this afternoon. Firstly, Artigas should not be getting anywhere near the kind of abuse that he's receiving. I saw quite a lot of it as well, and a lot of it was from British fans, and it was abhorrent, quite frankly. He is a 17-year-old kid. He's trying to learn his craft. Every rider has been where he is at some point.
Oh, yeah, every rider. Jorge Lorenzo did it at blooming Catalonia. Every rider makes mistakes like that.
Yeah, every rider
he should be
professionally.
banned.
should be able to empathize with where Artigas is at this point. Now, I've seen some people saying, you're in the Grand Prix Championship, you should know what to do and what not to. But come on, it's not like he's 27, he's 17. Give him a bit of a break, would you? Like we just said there now, it's happened to literally some of the best riders who've ever ridden in this championship. And quite frankly, I think Jacob's absolutely right. I think the reason the storm's getting kicked up is because of who this happened to, not the fact that it happened. John McPhee has a lot of pressures in this championship. This is the last year that he can compete in it, and this is his last chance to climb up the ladder. And I think that's the only reason he's as annoyed about this as he is, because he's under a lot more pressure than any other Moto3 rider. He has to make this season work.
Yeah, what you've got to think as well. Sorry, go on.
And his racecraft has to get better, like Jacob mentioned there, and he's absolutely right. So John McPhee, he's got to reassess his position and where he's at, because it's actually a very interesting point, and I never even thought of that. He seems to get caught up in these situations all the time. And there's a question to how much bad luck he truly has. Is this something that he keeps bringing on himself on the track?
Yeah, bad luck for me, breakdowns, fat tires.
Yeah.
Is stuff he, without wanting to be too horrible about it, this is all stuff he can work on. Like his track positioning, his track technique, where he is, like his whole outlook of strategy of waiting in the middle of the pack. There's only so much of that you should be doing.
Yeah, you should be at the front at the end of the day. Like,
folly.
The main thing I'm going to say about this whole Artigas and being horrible thing is the other rider. One of the other riders he took out is someone else who's also in Last Chance Saloon in Minio. Where's the outcry about him taking out Minio and ruining Minio's chances?
Yeah, or my race prediction, Alcoba for the podium, but here we are.
God damn it, Artigas.
But I do rate him.
The outcry about that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I just want to end this on this little note, just saying that John McPhee did say that he basically says that he's accepted it for what it is, so he's not made a big fuss of it. He knows what happened, and he's not slating Artigas, so just lay off him, he is 17.
Who's been hit with no slating him.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you, sat behind the keyboard, any right to
the right to literally call him every name under the sun on social media. Anyway, moving on, because, we don't want this to carry on for too much longer. So, obviously, last weekend, at the end of the podcast number 2, we gave our predictions for each podium of each class. And to say that we have got it wrong, we have completely got it wrong. But... So obviously, if you watch the races, which I hope you are, given that you're this far into the podcast, you'll know that Jaume Masia took the race win ahead of Pedro Acosta, who's a 16-year-old rookie, and then Darren Binder in third place, which is just amazing considering Darren Binder's pace all weekend. To his... Oh, right. I'll get into his qualifying in a minute, so before I, really get into it. But obviously, basically, Keelan, your predictions for the race was 2 out of 3 right. So you said Darren Binder, McPhee, and Masia. So you got 2 there.
Whoop.
And then Jacob said Masia, so you got that one right. Guevara, who did impress. He did impress.
Very impressive.
And then Foggia, whose race ended on lap 1.
I think Foggia would have done well, but
yeah,
we never got a chance. Tadei quite rightly got right through penalty.
Yeah.
Not right through, sorry, a long lap penalty for the causing contact with Foggia. It was a move that was there to be made, but it was just not at the right time.
Yeah, and then
if he'd maybe done lap 6 or 7, it would have been less of a cluster, and he probably would have made the move stick.
Yeah, on
the first lap.
No,
maybe not.
Yeah. And then my predictions were Masia, Guevara, and Alcoba, who obviously was involved in that incident with the Javier Artigas. So we all 3 of us picked Jaume and Masia, so we've done pretty well there.
Yeah.
I mean,
championship favorite.
Yeah, he is by far the championship favourite. Obviously, he impressed in testing and was 3 tenths faster than Canet's previous record. Then he did, I can't even remember where he qualified. I should have this on my screen. I do apologise. Where did he? 5th. He qualified in 5th place. So he was right back smack bang in the middle of the second row. So he was in a good place as well, because obviously then he can draft the riders in front of him down to T1.
So he didn't need to draft at the end.
He didn't even need to. That KTM is just on fire, isn't it?
It wasn't even that. Red Bull KTM IO clearly had a plan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they pulled it off to perfection, because the last lap, when they pulled the pin and dropped the grenade,
they just disappeared, didn't they?
Yeah, clearly the pace was not all there until the final laps. And then they thought, right, it's time to go. And Masia and Acosta, I was impressed with Masia. Acosta was seriously impressive.
Yeah.
Someone who's just come in on his debut. All the rookies were really strong. Even Artigas, even though he was a rookie, he was still at the top fighting when he made the mistake.
Yeah, he was obviously because he qualified really far down, but yeah.
We the only other rookie was Andy Farid and Lorenzo Fallon. They were
out of the points,
slightly lower. Adrian Fernandez was very middling. I thought
he did all right.
Had a chance at points, but then just fell out of the points by the end.
Yeah, MP17. Obviously, he did have that long lap time. That long lap penalty.
Must have been at the top because he was exceeding track limits.
Yeah, I think so.
He was battling around 12th, 13th, but
yeah, he did really well.
Yeah.
Andy Farid, I think the demotion has knocked his confidence for 6 because Onju beat him and Onju crashed.
Yeah, and I mean, Andy Farid was 45, or around 45 seconds off of the race winner Masia. And then obviously Onsu crashed and still beat him by 3 seconds. And Lorenzo Fellon was last of the rest of the riders. And he was, 16 seconds faster. So Fellon was 16 seconds faster than Andy Farid. So there is some monumental issues there.
Yes, I think his confidence.
Yeah, he's 23 years old at the end of the day. He should not really be a rookie in this class.
No.
At 23, we do appreciate that the Indonesian racing kind of program they've got in Indonesia is not as established as we've got, say, in the UK and Spain. And riders do come into a sport a lot later. They haven't got access to the same things we've got in regards to, fitness coaches, nutritionists, and things like that. Bikes to ride every day that are good spec. So I do appreciate that, but. Yeah.
So far, you can make excuses.
Yeah, he's obviously still fast enough to qualify, etc. But in a field like this, that ride could go to Billy Van Aert.
You get shown up.
Yeah, exactly. Billy Van Aert could have had that ride, for example, or another.
I would have given it to Mario Aji myself.
Yeah, Mario Aji, another Indonesian rider who is really quick.
Yeah, I would have given it to him.
Really quick rider.
I'm not part of Honda Team Asia, so I don't know.
No.
But that leads me into where we were talking about Fallon. That leads me into my rider of the day, which was Tatsuki Suzuki.
Yes.
Coming 8th.
P8, no preseason testing, nothing. Straight into P8.
Still having trouble breathing after contracting COVID.
Yeah. Could barely string some laps together.
And ending up 8th.
Yeah, he did
only
phenomenally
2
well.
seconds off the front. Just mental.
Yeah, he did really well to obviously get that close after such a torrid time with COVID-19.
Yeah, and the other rider who really impressed me in the top 10 was Jason Dupaski.
Yes, he scored his first, obviously, points in the class. Obviously, finished in 10th place. He had a tricky season last year. Again, he is Swiss, so he may have not had the same kind of things that other riders had. But he's done really well because he raced in CEV the year before. And
I would slightly disagree with you of having the things that others didn't have.
Yeah, because he was a CEV rider.
And his father's Philippe Dupaski. Oh, people listening of a certain age will get all misty-eyed over that.
No idea.
It's if you're slightly older, you'll remember Philippe Dupaski as a man who got on a KTM motocross bike. He's only 5'3". He made a 125 look massive. Decided he didn't like the steel frame, so he had a custom-made aluminium frame put on a KTM, and KTM did not appreciate it. Sean.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I think he's had the KTM connections.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's always had the talent, but maybe hasn't shown it until now.
Yeah, he did really well. Another rider I want to shout out on the back of that is Maximilian Koffler in P15, also taking his first Grand Prix point. He is Austrian, so we've had a Swiss rider in the points and an Austrian rider in the points, which is amazing for these European riders, especially with
Czech.
Yeah,
13.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, obviously it wasn't his first points for Philip Salach, but it's amazing given the new European Talent Cup which has come into play. These riders will be what every rider in that European Talent Cup. European
Talent Cup as well.
I mean, in the Northern Talent Cup. Sorry, I do apologise. The Scandinavian Championship with the Austrian riders, etc. That's where these riders will be looking at. They'll be looking at Koffler. They'll be looking at Dupaski and going, "We can do this."
If they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah, exactly. So.
And one other thing I did want to mention was how good were Gas.
Yeah.
Squad.
I mean, obviously they are a KTM. Yeah, they did.
It's still technically a debut.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
To get a 4th with Sergio Garcia and 7th
with a rookie. Yeah.
A rookie. Yeah. If Red Bull KTM hadn't had a 1 and a 2, we'd be raving about how Gas did right now.
Yeah, 100%. They did really well. Obviously, it's basically just a spray painted KTM at the moment, but the Aspar team obviously they've proven to be really good from last year's performance where they won the championship. So it wasn't necessarily a surprise, but obviously Garcia has come over from Honda and instantly adapted to that KTM, which is a bit trickier to ride, later braking, etc. And obviously,
what I think is that Aspar setup.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
To World Championship level is so professional.
It's
like you looking down the field, they got an ETC, for example. They've got like the best of Italia, Dovizioso. In CEV, they picked up the best of British talent.
Scott Ogden. Yeah.
And of course, they got the ETC champion David Alonso alongside, as well as Olgado. It's just they've got talent pouring out of them. Nico Terol involved in the youth setup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's obviously helped training them all multiple days a week.
If you're gonna be in a squad to get you through to World Championship level, you want to be in the Aspar squad. And it's paid dividends.
Yeah, it's done really well. The squad's just fantastic, and they're obviously just breeding the next future generation of talent.
They've obviously promoted Guevara because if Aspar thinks you're special, you're special.
Yeah, I mean he's come in and won the championship first go, so he's clearly ready for the Moto3 World Championship, and he's gone out and proven that with the P7 today, which is better than obviously some rookies have done all season long last year. So he's definitely there. And then obviously there was a bit of a scrap in Moto3, wasn't there? With what was it? David, Darren Binder, and Gabriele Rodrigo. A bit of fairing bashing, wasn't there?
They don't call him Dive Bomb Darren for nothing.
No.
I think his levers need spring releases to get him back to normal because they always seem to be up and down his lever protectors.
Yeah, they do, because Rodrigo hit it with his head, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean that's a fight I'd pay to see in a boxing match.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want some celebrity boxing? Come to MotoGP and we will give you the proper fights.
It's his Moto3.
You could sell tickets for Binder versus Rodrigo, let's be honest.
Yeah, they are so hot-headed, the pair of them. Like, not hot-headed in an angry way, but like they're hot-headed on track in the way that they will literally just give them an inch and they will flip in. Yeah.
Well, even if they don't give them an inch, they'll take it.
Yeah, they'll literally go, right, I want that place. Bang, drive straight through them. With obviously
looking down the order, one other thing I did want to mention, I'm quite impressed with Fanardi. I didn't clock it in my notes. Two long penalties and coming in on 11th. Can't fault that.
No, that was genuinely a solid performance. But again, come on, Fanardi. He's the most winningest Moto3 rider ever, and he's 11th.
But he shouldn't be jumping the starter, man, of his experience anyway.
He shouldn't even be in his flipping class.
Hold himself to batter.
Yeah.
Class, that's cool, but we all know. I'm not going to into it. We all know what happened.
Oh no, not even that. Just the fact that he's 25 years old and he's easily, like, I mean, he was
second. The age limit is 28, so.
Yeah, but obviously he won his second ever Moto3 race. You know, like a rider of that caliber should have been in MotoGP years ago.
It's still the biggest margin of winning in Moto3, isn't it?
It is second ever race, and he's still in the class. It just
gone up.
blows my mind.
Old Brick Lever Zaranes, he's come back.
Yeah, we won't go into that. Yeah, but it was obviously really good set of racing. in Moto 3, and obviously I don't know if you clocked it, but Salach with his little elbows.
Yes. But on the final lap, oh my God, I thought he was going to the moon.
Well, he had his elbow, didn't he? He was like pushing. I think it was Suzuki. He was probably elbowing him.
Well, he's big enough.
Yeah, like he literally had his elbow out, like get the hell out of my way, kind of thing.
I wouldn't want an elbow off him.
No, me neither. Moving on to Moto 2, obviously we've seen Sam Lowes take the win in Qatar, stamping his authority down on the Moto 2 class already.
Yeah, I mean, even on our last episode, unanimously, all of us said that Sam Lowes was going to win. And with a class that's as competitive as Moto 2, that's a testament to just how damn good Sam Lowes is in that bike. You know, I don't think there was a point that he ever really looked troubled to me. Just looks like such a different rider from a couple of seasons ago. He is absolutely world class.
He is easily that title.
The class of the field at the moment. I was discussing it with a rider earlier, and he said, "Is it just me, or does Sam Lowes looks really, really slow?" And I was like, "Yeah, he does."
Like Lorenzo-esque.
Yeah, I said it's like the Alan Prost of F1 style, win by looking slow but being fastest. It's such a good tactic if you can pull it off, because it's very difficult to do.
Yeah, it's like when Lorenzo used to win races and he would look like he was just toddling around, but he was setting lap records. Yeah,
as good as Sam was, I was more impressed with the other Brit.
Yeah, Jay Dixon to come in obviously with a broken wrist, and obviously still broken because he was told he may not even ever race again, and that he needed like 12 months to repair his wrist, and he's back in after 5 months with P7.
Yeah, with a 50% of a range of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake was just absolutely fantastic today, and I'm delighted to see how well he's doing for the Petronas team. And, you know, not just with his wrist and not just with 50% motion, but with a penalty on the grid as well. Going back 3 places from what he'd already qualified. You know, Jake is just such a good rider. You can see the quality every time he's on the track. And to finish where he did in that kind of agony and already at a deficit compared to the other riders on the track, it's just absolutely class to see. And I'm delighted for Jake Dixon. I really hope this season goes well for him. And, you know, given his God-given talent on that bike, he should be able to make a title run. I really think he should.
Yeah, I was very impressed, and you could see the pain when he got off the bike. Like it was hurting.
Yeah, he was wincing, wasn't he? He's going to be crying tonight.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with Bo Ben Snyder.
Yeah, he kind of faded tonight, but it is actually his second best result in that class ever. Obviously, he got a P8 last year.
A little stat that came up: he was the first Dutch rider on an intermediate class front row since Jurgen van der Gerberg in 1996.
Impressive, isn't it?
I don't think I have any right to be disappointed with a 9th. I think that just shows how far he's come.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Definitely.
But I did expect slightly more. But then, again, he's not been up there before on the NTS.
And he's barely ridden the KLX, because obviously he did.
Yeah, I said last week, is it the bike or the rider? I think now he's really rammed home the point that perhaps it is the chassis.
Yeah, the NTS is... Yeah. I mean, it runs around and lasts. Come on.
Yeah, he lost Baltas.
Yeah, that was sucked. Big shame. That was a horrific crash.
Yeah,
and then, it was. Apparently Cyrene just decided to pull in. I don't know why.
Okay, that's... yeah, great. Well done.
He didn't crash. But I don't actually know what happened.
No, he hates it, though. He really doesn't like it.
Yeah, and I would assume it's something to do with the fact that perhaps he didn't feel safe on it.
Maybe. Yeah,
possibly.
I can see this being his last ride in his Grand Prix career, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I can't even. I said it before, and I'll stand by it. I can't see him finishing the season.
Yeah, no, I can't. Like, it's just not. Yeah.
There's not much to add, is there?
He's miles off the pace at the end of the day. Like,
I wanted to give a shout out to Marcos Ramirez.
Yes, me too. Off the back of your Jay Dixon point. You know, broken humerus, was it? Was it broken humerus? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he must have plums the size of bowling balls to even attempt to ride.
Yeah, because he was past unfit. No, he was past fit, but was basically advised not to ride.
He was past unfit yesterday.
Yeah.
And past fit today.
and he just basically went out and tried to.
Wonder what he did.
He clearly did a lot of push-ups on it.
Yeah, and then obviously didn't even finish a lap. But
fair play though, fair play, because that must have been horrific.
Oh, you have to respect the effort, no question. Big up Marcus Ramirez.
I mean, as much as I want to see Ramirez race next weekend, I wouldn't mind them replacing him with the American Academy rider Sean Dillon Kelly. I think that could be a very interesting proposition, which could happen. Obviously, second place at the Daytona 200, where he missed out by millimeters to Brandon Pash. So he's so talented.
He knows how to go fast, SDK.
He's very quick, so I'd like to see him back in again, because last time he raced in Moto 2, he was with a Kalex chassis, and it was his first ride on the bike. Yeah, sorry, KTM, do apologise. And it just wasn't it.
Nah, that KTM.
Yeah, it just never came together for him.
No, so I'd like to see him basically just give it a go on KLX, just see where he is, get his name out there, because he is incredibly talented. And for him to spend another year in America. Yeah, he's what, 18? 18? So to be spending another year in Moto America, it's just a waste of his talent. So just someone get him in there.
Yeah, so there's a very real possibility that we could see him soon, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. Obviously, I really want Ramirez to return race fit as soon as possible. But if they're going to replace him with anyone, get STK on it, please.
Speaking of Moto America, big up my guy Cameron Beaubier.
Oh yes, what a ride!
Exactly where I was going. On Chantra. Oh my lord!
Yeah, flipping out from P22 to P11, and he just looked like he'd been racing there for years.
Yeah, we'd be flipping our lid if Raul Fernandez hadn't done so well as a rookie.
Yeah.
Because he was second rookie home.
Yeah, he was.
He beat Vietti.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He was also extremely impressive. Arbolino and Nagura weren't even in the points.
No, but
Montoya or Arenas.
Arbo did do well as well.
That shows the level that the current reigning Moto3 world champion didn't even go into the points, and then Beaubier got 11th, and that move he just came in sideways.
Yeah, he just flew in, like literally, like you said, like sideways.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I was watching it, and I was. Is that the same guy who I just seen in Moto America?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Last I was looking, he was obviously out of the points, and then I saw him do that move, and I just thought, what in the hell have I just witnessed?
Yeah.
That is 5-star caliber talent for you.
Well, he's got 5 titles, 5 stars.
5 titles, 5 stars, it all aligns for Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he basically, I mean, I remember watching him, and he was kind of P15, and then I didn't, obviously, because of the way Dorna had the gaps demonstrated on the side, you could only see down to P10. And so when I saw him at P11, you know, he's overtaken Vietti, he's overtaken Fernandez, he's overtaken Aaron Canet to take P11.
I was very disappointed with Canet.
Yeah, I mean, expected more from him at the moment. I mean,
I had him as a podium tip.
Yeah, we'll go on to the tips in a minute, but yeah, you've literally got him down as a podium tip.
And I fully expected it, and I don't know what happened. Like none of the Boscoscuro chassis were in the top. Well, Navarro was 10th.
Yeah, they've really struggled, I think, but we'll have to see once they go to Jerez, which is always the leveler for the
I've said it so many times it hurts, but I take nothing from Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar is
almost a freebie.
Yeah, it's just kind of go for it. And then obviously once they return to Europe at Jerez. So obviously before we did the race, last podcast we did our predictions, and we predicted for Moto 2, Keelan went for the podium, obviously not in any order, but for the podium, Keelan went with Sam Lowes, Remy Gardner and Marco Bezzecchi, which is so close. You nearly got all three. You got, I think, when obviously Bezzecchi was third.
2 or 3.
Bezzecchi was third by
4.
By 0.0013, he was fourth by, sorry. So you basically, and you missed out by 0.013 of being fully correct.
That's like a thousandth of a second away from getting a clean sweep, and now
100th, yeah. And then, obviously, Jacob went with Aaron Canet, Joe Roberts, and Sam Lowes, and I went with Sam Lowes, Remy Gardner, and Jake Dixon. So I was fairly close.
Do you know what, though?
What?
In the case of DG, I'm so happy.
The fact that he's basically just hopped on that KLX and gone bang straight onto the podium.
Not even that. It's not even about what he did. It's about who he did it for.
Yeah, Fausto Grassini.
And the emotion when he came into
That was heartwarming. That was.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was literally, you could see what it meant. And
yeah,
honestly, like as much as I am disappointed for Bears, I'm glad it was DG.
Yeah,
because that was the best tribute that they could have given Fausto.
Apart from P1, but obviously Sam Lowe's was obviously there as well in P1. He's raced for them as well, so yeah, you ain't beating Sam. But obviously he's raced for Goscinny twice. Yeah, because Sam's raced for Goscinny twice anyway, so it's not like Sam didn't know who he was and didn't have a relationship with Fausto.
Apparently, Lowe's and DG. So
yeah, they are, because Sam used to basically guide DG back in Moto 3.
Taught him English.
Yeah, he did, yeah. So, obviously, that was really nice to see when Sam kind of turned around and was like, give me a hug.
But of all the riders, I'm glad to be wrong about DG is the one, because it was just so nice to see.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. That you can forgive any day.
Yeah. And, I mean, a rider who really impressed today was Raul Fernandez.
Oh, yeah. But we knew he'd have it. Like, even when he was still confirmed as the IO Moto 3 rider before they promoted Acosta. He was training on an R1.
Yeah, he was, yeah. And an R6 as well.
Yeah, the big bikes clearly suit the kid. So.
Yeah, and there's a photo I had a look at the other day because I like to do weird stuff like that, where I took a picture of his leg from when he was on a Moto 3, and there's a photo of him on Instagram when he's leaving the pits on the Moto 2, and his leg's grown massive. Like, his leg, the distance between his knee and the top of his boot. No, it was on the Moto 2. And the distance between his knee and his top of his boot has grown like 3 inches since the Moto 3 to now. So he's grown up quite a lot. So moving him to Moto 2,
he was losing on the straight.
Yeah, he's just huge. But I mean, Valentino Rossi is also huge. He's a 9-time champion. So
yeah, I think he does need to work on his aero slightly.
Yeah, he does. I think
on board when Bez was chasing him, and Bez just went past him like he was stood still. That can't be all slipstream.
No, it's definitely obviously height that comes into that one, but he did really well. Obviously, he was running the P2 at one point before obviously dropping back to P5, and then
it's just Moto 2 rookies. I think his tyres went, but you could forgive it. You know what I mean? He still got a top 5. It was a really good day for IO.
Yeah, phenomenal day for IO with Moto 3 boys smashing it Moto 2.
Absolutely.
We barely mentioned Remy in second because massive rides.
Forgot about Remy. Sorry, Remy.
But again, the same as Lowe's, like with respect to Remy and not putting too much pressure on him, we sort of expect it.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So it's not much fanfare. It's more the rides we, for want of a better term, didn't expect. Like, nobody had DG for the podium. I don't know who you are. If you said you had DG for the podium, you're either a liar or a time traveler.
But that's a testament to how good and how well respected Remy Gardner's ability is. The fact that we aren't surprised that he got a podium, because he is easily one of the best riders in that Moto 2 class, and there's no question about it. I thought he had one of the best races I've ever seen him have earlier today. I thought he was brilliant in nearly every facet of his ride. I really did.
He's looking like the complete rider now.
KTM will be rubbing their hands for that RC16 next year.
Yeah, I'm very worried for Leclerc Petrucci.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Petrucci will come on to it in a minute. Binned it, T3, turn 3? Just fired it at the sidelines. So that wasn't the best start.
He loves the bike.
Yeah, I love this thing. It's the best thing ever. There you go, bang! Chuck at the scenery.
I'd assume they're looking more ready to promote him.
Yeah, I think so. But also Fernandez, if he can keep this up, there's no reason why they can't promote Fernandez as well. I think they'll definitely keep him for next year.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Fernandez is young. He's got time to round himself off.
He can move into MotoGP as a time champion, because KTM are yet to win a Moto2 title. They need that title.
That's crazy to think about in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously they've had Binder, who was close, Oliveira, who was close. They've never won that title, so they want to at least win one title.
So if I was a Tech 3 boy right now, I'd be quaking in my boots.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, obviously we can't really judge KTM's performance on the RC16s around Qatar because it just hates it. But
as I explained last time, too much grip.
It's a bit of a write-off.
Yeah, it's definitely write-off for KTM. But obviously Petrucci has about 5-6 races to prove it to KTM.
Yeah, he's not on a 2 year, is he?
No, he's on 1 year and he's got 5-6 races to prove it. Otherwise, they will be looking elsewhere. And then maybe he can go to Aprilia. Conspiracy theory.
Davia Petrucci and Aprilia.
Yeah, Aleix going off cycling next year. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Flipping heck.
Yeah, I like Remy and much fanfare when he got a podium. That shows how far he's come.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, we expect him to be well in there with Sam Lowes now.
I think Qatar is, again, stupid weird.
Yeah, Qatar's just...
Going into Europe, I think he's going to be a lot closer to Sam if he comes, because he has it. He has
yeah.
knowledge.
Oh yeah, me too, yeah. I agree. I think he'll be really good.
On another point, moving on to the main class, what do we think of the start from Ducati? 1, 2, 3, 4 going into turn number 1.
Yeah.
I could not believe my eyes when I saw this. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because of their launch device, but that sight of Ducati just walking away from everybody was just stunning.
You say that, yet Aleix made time off the start on the Aprilia.
Yeah, he did,
That's right, yeah.
Because they're really good at the start.
He's actually, I think he had a better start than all the Ducatis.
He did really well.
Now that's worrying.
It is.
Because we know Aleix can bite the screen and set a lap.
Yeah, he can.
If he can put it on the front row for Qatar too,
that would be
interesting.
interesting.
That start, then that could really mix it up. But I think someone needs to look into what Gigi's done and how he's managed to make a Ducati engine look that way when it's clearly a rocket.
Yeah, like what's going on there? I mean, from Jorge Martin's
Dressed it up well.
Yeah, because I mean, Jorge Martin started in P14, and then turn 1 he was P4.
I honestly thought he'd had a long jump start.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on there?
I'm pretty sure at one point, and I could be wrong, I could even swear Martin was as high as P3.
I think he...
And he did take Zarco in the first corner.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Like, what the hell?
And I was thinking, is that the rookie flying past Johan Zarco in this obvious red rocket ship?
Yeah, like...
It was such a spectacle.
It was all, like, we were all mentioning the start, but the end was where the Ducati really showed how strong it is in a straight line.
Yeah. Oh. Like, poor Mir. Daylight robbery.
I am salty for Mir. I shouldn't be, because, you know, you really have to earn a MotoGP podium no matter who you are.
Oh, yeah. It's never safe until you've crossed that line.
Yeah, but I am salty for Mir because he went wide to get the slingshot to counter those Ducatis.
And Ducati like, haha.
Yeah, they basically just hit overdrive.
Yeah, they did. It's basically
absolutely bonkers.
Like
they literally, it's like they looked at Mir and said, "Haha, nice try."
Yeah, well done.
Just walked.
Know your place.
Yeah, get back in P4. We're on this podium now. Cause
it's just like the way you see it sit down with the ride height adjuster.
And you just like
squat in and
top speed engaged.
You know the ski jumpers?
Yeah.
Like where they go off the skis and just before they're about to go,
they push their like arms down, don't they, behind them? Yeah, and squat over.
It sort of tenses itself up because it knows the boost is coming.
Yeah, like, let's go. Yeah, because obviously Zarco's a faster one over the factory bikes for some reason. I think he's got a new air intake, which is why.
The fastest bike on track actually though was actually Martin.
Yeah, which is mental.
That's right.
Again, those Shark helmets. Shark still looking for sponsorship.
Yeah, Shark sponsor us, please.
But Martin and Zarco were the quickest. I found it very interesting that Martin was not running new fairing.
Yeah. Speed. Obviously, he's still a rookie, so he doesn't, maybe not got the feeling there yet. But obviously, Zarco basically drafted Pecco to the line because Pecco was right behind him, but he couldn't actually get past Zarco. He was just sat in Zarco's little slipstream.
He literally just tailed Zarco to the line.
Yeah, and Mir's like, no, stop, no, stop.
It was all well and good saying, talking about the Ducatis. I think we need to give Mav credit where it's due.
Amazing race.
What a ride.
But before we get into that, I want to get into our race predictions. Don't get ahead of yourselves, boys. What are you doing? Come on. I'm leading this podcast, not you. Like they said to me, get in your place.
Yeah. I already know.
Yeah.
Suck.
So,
two of my 3 predictions were bloody impressive.
Yeah, we basically screwed that up again. So we put Jack Miller for Keelan. Keelan put Jack Miller. Frankie Morbidelli. Yeah, we'll get onto that. Paul Espargaro, which, yeah, he's done a good race. But a wild card there. Then Jason went with Jack Miller. Again, we'll get onto that. Paul Espargaro, we'll get onto that. And then Aleix Espargaro, again, we'll get onto that, who was only 0.056 from his brother. So they were pretty close.
That's the closest a Premier have ever been in the MotoGP class to the win.
And then
5.934 seconds off the win.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was miles off as well. I said Jack Miller. I can't even believe it. Seriously. Jack Miller. In hindsight's a beautiful thing. So Jack Miller, Miguel Oliveira on the KTM, who was 13th, and then Franco Morbidelli, who, as we know, was 18th.
Morbidelli has a technical issue.
Okay, explain.
I don't know it. They didn't say.
Thanks. Cheers for your expert knowledge there.
No. Literally, Yamaha's release had said technical issue.
Right.
That's it.
Is that the same technical issue Rossi was having? Or...
Oof. That says to me that a Yamaha part broke and they don't want to tell you what it is.
Yeah, probably like the entire bike. Because you don't get P2 overall
and
then 18.
Again, oh my god.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
To be fair though, just to stand up for the old guy in the grid, Rossi was, I think, 16th at one point, and he clawed it back to 12. I think that's pretty impressive.
Not when you compare to like an Bastianini, but we'll get onto that in a minute.
But first of all, I want to go on to Miller.
No, we want to go back to Vinales. Rewind back to Vinales.
Okay, rewind back to Vinales.
So, what a race!
Absolutely perfect.
Oh, it was fantastic.
There's no other way to put it. Like, if it's as close to perfect around Qatar as you're going to get.
Yeah, because as soon as he got past Fabio, who was quite clearly holding everybody up, he just disappeared. I was like, right,
Fabio's
Pecco.
going to be seriously salty tonight.
Yeah, he's going to be like, what? Where's that speed come from?
Muttering under his breath, like, what the hell?
That's Spanish rider. There's going to be a wall in the garage.
They have a pact.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
In front, then the other one pass. Mav just basically smashed out the water, quite rightly.
Yeah, like you're not gonna. I don't understand that. Like, so what? You can't overtake me if we're both at the front, but I'm fighting for a championship
I
here.
assumed that meant first and second, or not third and fourth.
Yeah, but again, you're fighting for a championship. It's every man for himself. I don't understand the little.
Oh, that won't last long.
Oh,
Mav sorts his head out, and they are fighting for a championship.
I think he can do it. I genuinely think he can do it this year because he has come into it the most mental, like the perfect mental state, his best mental state he's ever had. He's got a kid on the way, he's got his wife, his life is good.
Married Vinales.
Yeah.
Marc married Vinales.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, for him to actually be married, you know.
Yeah.
He seems content with his lot in life now.
Yeah, he's the daddy.
Like the moody.
Moody.
For want of a better term, the complete arse that he was.
Yeah, he's definitely.
And also, I'd like to point out is what he said about Rossi actually turning out to be true.
Yeah, but obviously because he said the atmosphere in the garage has improved.
They're pulling in different directions.
Yeah.
And now him and Fabio are pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I doubted it at the time. I thought, oh, is that just Mav making excuses?
Yeah, and going like,
I could see it happening with Rossi because, you know, he needs to be number one.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But at the same time, if that's not, it might work at Petronas, for example, if he does end up beating Frankie. Frankie might be like, okay, you know, I'll do it, you know.
Yeah, go for it.
It didn't work for Maverick.
No, Maverick has pulled the weight there.
Yeah,
so
and even today he rode the perfect race. He really, really did.
Yeah.
Like whenever he was P2, going around the track, and Bagnaia, was slowing up everybody else. As soon as Maverick had passed him, he never really looked like getting it back.
Yeah, he never really looked back.
I think that's testament to the racecraft of Maverick Vinales.
Do you know
and
what?
he
I also think that is something to do with Pecco slacking. I think Pecco was trying to do a Dovi.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And slow the pace for tyres at the end, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was able to then go up a gear in his brain to catch Maverick once he passed him. I think he was banking on leading the entire way.
Yeah, he messed up there, but he knows where he needs to improve now.
Yeah, and what Vinales also did that I was so impressed with, he was able to expose the big chink in the Ducati armor and that is cornering and getting out of the corners quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whenever what did I notice whenever I was watching the race? Whenever Vinales got his elbow down and he was coming out of the corner, the Ducati was taking almost half a second longer to get the bike down and get round and do the same thing. And that's why Maverick was able to build up such an unassailable lead. He was able to flick the bike in and out much easier and then get off again before the Ducati could slipstream past. And I think that's true testament to his experience and his ability on that bike. So we should absolutely be giving props to Maverick Vinales for running such a fantastic race.
I don't think I've seen Maverick look this aggressive since 2017, 2018.
Yeah, back
I
when
think you're right.
He was hungry back then, and I think he's got that hunger back
his
again.
Hunger ever went, but I think his mental state went. I think he's a very emotional rider.
Oh yeah, he carries his heart on his sleeve like Fabio, but obviously Vinales and Fabio have spent some time with sports psychologists now, and Maverick Vinales, he was nearly in tears in Parc Ferme after that win. You could see how much it meant to him.
That was a weight off his shoulders.
Yeah, he was like, I can do this. I can win this.
You know, as impressed as I was with Maverick, there was a couple of rides who I was more impressed with, but none impressed me more than Enea Bastianini.
Yeah, as a rookie, P10, coming back, he was way down at one point.
GP19, don't forget.
Yeah, GP19 and the
Didn't have both whole shot devices either.
No.
So he was never going to get the start.
Nope. And he's still there.
I think he did the opposite of Martin. I actually think it's going to sound stupid because Martin flew down the order. But I think what he did was actually very smart.
What, just waiting back?
No, he went quick. He gave it everything. He found where the tyres were, and he already has that information now.
Yeah.
He knows how hard he can push to wreck the tyres.
And now next week,
backwards from that.
Yeah.
Where Bestia led, like he built up to it.
Yeah.
I think Martin's way of working come mid-season could reverse those results.
Yeah, I think Martin will go up there and then stay there instead of dropping back to 12, which he did improve his qualifying time and his placing by 2 places. So he definitely improved in the race, but he didn't stick it.
He's actually boxing a little clever because he knows he has time in the class.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both young.
Taking nothing away from Bastianini because he still had to finish 10th on old machinery.
Yeah, he did. Oh, unbelievably well.
He's a reigning Moto2 world champion.
In my opinion, Bastianini should be on a GP21 and basically swap Martin and Bastianini because Bastianini was a Moto2 champion, not Martin. But the deal was ironed out way before anyway. So
even that, I think Ducati, if they are serious, because they've put every rider on Ducati contracts, bar Marini.
Yeah.
Give all your riders the same equipment.
Yeah, it's expensive though, isn't it?
Well, it's not like a India can't pay; they always find the money.
Rossi.
Yeah. But when you consider that Bastianini finished 9.2 seconds off the lead.
Yeah.
Jack Miller finished 7 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, what happened with Miller?
Even though I had him in my predictions, I'm going to say something extremely controversial here.
Oh dear! Don't.
Miller.
What?
Oh, here we go.
What?
I don't think he has it in him to be a MotoGP world champion.
Silence.
The silence.
The silence.
I know it's not reality, but if I was going to bet on anyone being a MotoGP world champion for Ducati, I would pick Pecco 10 times out of 10 over Jack Miller.
Pecco got the job done in Moto2.
But it's not even about previous years. It's when the chips are down, Miller seems to flounder. And I like Miller. I really like Miller. I think he's brilliant. You know, he's such a fun guy.
Dios Miller.
Eva Miller memes a lot.
Oh, yeah.
GP. But in terms of being a winning rider, week in, week out, when the pressure's on, I don't think he can do it. I think he'll crack.
The pressure is being wound up in Ducati. Pecco even mentioned it. It's getting hotter in there, as they say. You know, they put the toad in the water and they're turning up the heat.
And look where the Ducati Renault team actually finished when the pressure of the first race is on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you saw at one point Tardozzi was looking really angry with both his riders when Pecco was off the podium. And then he got back on the podium and they're all like cheering, way.
And that was thanks to Pramac.
Yeah. I mean...
but Pecco, I think, is a better all-round rider and more of a shot at winning the title than Jack Miller.
If Ducati give him the time, Yeah, I can see Pecco winning the title, but I wouldn't discount Miller either. I would not discount Miller.
I mean, like, I don't want to, because I do like Miller, I really do, and I obviously is talented. I think he just lacks that extra. He's a Petrucci for me.
Yeah.
Just lacks that extra 1% you need to win a title.
Well, once Miller wins a title this year and all the Viva Miller memes are playing, I'm going to send this back to you.
I don't.
With Jack Miller to me is kind of like the Pulp Fiction of the paddock, and what I mean by that is that he's like a cult hero figure already.
They love him,
because he's so liked and because he's so loved by so many. I think Jacob makes a really, really interesting point, actually, and it's not something I considered, but I do respectfully disagree with him.
Yeah.
I think Miller's got everything that he needs to win. I think he's fast. I think he's strong. I think sometimes he loses focus now and again, but I think if his head's fully switched on, he has everything that he needs to win.
I think that's his downfall. I don't think he has the head for it, whereas Pecco he's another Dovi, but better.
Yeah.
He's methodical. He works hard. Like, nobody works harder than Miller in the paddock.
Yeah, Miller's worked very hard.
Pecco works hard. He's very methodical. He's very cool. You very rarely see him flustered.
Yeah.
Even when he was struggling in his debut season, he never looked flustered. He always just kept working, and then he came on, and look where he is. Podium man in the first race, whereas Miller, who everybody tipped, pressure suddenly appeared, and he ends up 9th.
Well, I think someone mentioned that there, especially in today's race, there was an issue with sand on the track as well that might have affected him. Now, I don't know if this is the case or not. This is just what I've heard. But I have to admit, I think Miller has what it takes to win. I think he's kind of like the Australian Cal Crutchlow in that he really is a grafter, and he works harder than nearly anybody on the paddock. There is no question about that.
Yeah.
But I think he's gifted enough to win a title. I really, really do.
But talent alone cannot win you a MotoGP title anymore.
Oh, no, I fully agree with that. That's a very good point. I think he needs to focus himself and settle down more. Absolutely. But if he does that, I certainly think he can.
I would love to be wrong, because I really do like Miller. Like, I would love to be wrong, and it would be great to see another Australian champion on a Ducati.
Yeah, it would be sick.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see it.
It's interesting. I mean, I want to move on to Suzuki, because we saw Rins and Mir. Obviously, Mir qualified in 10th with Frankie Cargetti. Sorry?
Mir did won in the title.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Franco Carcetti even said, Franco Carcetti, if you don't know, is Mir's crew chief. He basically just said it was business as normal. You know, they won the title from starting in P10 every weekend, and he's proved it. He was up to P2 on their final lap. So Mir definitely
Final corner, he was P2.
He was indeed. But obviously, you're not beating those Ducatis on the straight. I'm sorry. Apart from if you're Vinales, which I found interesting, he was dragging them.
I was really disappointed with Rins, though.
Yeah, because he basically dragged Mir all the way up and then was like, there you go, like letting the dog off the lead. So there you go, I'm going to stay here. You can just carry on. Like,
I think I'm going to say with the speedy closed up to the back of someone and then fell off, I'm going to assume he had a tyre issue.
Yeah, he didn't look too happy in the pits.
You know, that's not classic Rins either, to just fall away.
He would get up there and he'd carry on. And he's so hungry, he's so motivated. After seeing Mir win the title when it should have been him, you know, that's going to eat him up.
Now, he is still my bet for the title this year, Rins.
Is he? Interesting.
Yeah, but at the same time, he needs to manage his races slightly better.
Yeah, I can...
But again, I don't know, because you could see the way we know the Suzuki's are kind on tyres.
Yeah.
So it does make me wonder, did he have another issue somewhere?
Yeah, it's very plausible at the end of the day. It'll be interesting to see where it goes next weekend.
Rins doesn't go backwards.
No.
When he's on the back of you and he's latched on, he's like a dog with a bone. You will not shake him.
Yeah.
This is true.
So for him to just suddenly fall away,
there's got to be something there.
Issue somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, for sure. Because, like you said, Rins doesn't back off, and Rins certainly doesn't go away. So why he would fall back is definitely a question to consider.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it comes next weekend. And obviously, Pecco knows where the issues he had this weekend were. Same with Jack. Obviously, because it's a double weekend, we could see Ducati getting in those P1 positions as long as they can keep Maverick Vinales at bay.
Yeah, who had Zarco second?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Like, I don't know what to say, because no matter what you say about Zarco, someone will be like, "Oh, Lion, right?"
Zarco's
People have very strong opinions about Zarco. He's
like Marmite.
Polarizing character.
Yeah, he's literally like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him.
Yeah, he's another one who doesn't have the head for it for me. But
I can't see him being a champion, but podium race winner, I would love to see him win a race win.
You'll have 3 or 4 really good race weekends, and you'll possibly win a race or 2. But you'll fall away slightly come Aragon.
I'd like to see him prove us wrong, though, because he's looking naughty on that Pramac Ducati.
He's found a home by the look of it.
Yeah, he loves it there.
And he's like a cat, and he just flips from place to place.
Yeah.
Nobody truly owns him.
No, exactly. And obviously, he has now set the top speed, as we've mentioned earlier, which is very interesting.
Rocket, and I can see that going at Mugello, but...
Yeah, I can, 100%. Right, as we come to close this podcast, I want to ask for your predictions again for next weekend. This will be obviously something we do before every race weekend. So obviously we'll start in the Moto3 class and work up, starting with Keelan. Who do you see as your podium finishers, Keelan?
I think I have to go with Messia again.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question. He was better than even I thought he would be, and I knew he would be brilliant. So he's definitely one of my top 3. I think I'm gonna go for Acosta also. Not to be boring, I just think he was so good, and he's adapted so quickly for a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, the evidence is there.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna go Darren Bender.
Yeah, no.
Top 3 from this
Basically,
weekend.
Just copy and paste in. I'll see what you're doing there. I'll see what you're doing.
I mean, it's hard to see past 2 of those.
Yeah, 100%.
But I am going different on my 3rd.
All right, go for it, Jacob. Who are your 3?
Messia and Acosta 1-2 again, because they have the plan. They've got
the data. They got everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they clearly are a step ahead as a team.
Yes, they are as a team. The team working.
Absolutely.
And then I'm gonna throw it out there, Gabriele Rodrigo.
Oh my God! He's only had one podium.
But
he wants it.
Last year, without wanting to go into too much depth, last year, Gabriele finally got his crashing under control, but lost some speed.
Yes.
This year he seems to have both. If he can do it, which I believe he can, I don't see any reason why he couldn't qualify a bit better and finish on the podium. His racecraft was outstanding today.
Yeah, he did.
Which is not something I've ever said about Gabriele Rodrigo.
He's normally crashed, isn't he?
Yeah. If it ain't going to be Rodrigo, then I would possibly go Garcia.
No.
But I think Rodrigo.
You'll say it's stuck in Messia, Acosta, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Perfect, actually, because my ones are Messia again, because he's just... I don't want to swear. I'm not going to swear, but he is... swear word hot this year.
Use your imagination for what we think.
Yeah, he's very quick. And then I'm going to say Garcia, because he was obviously P4. He was up there all race long. He was really impressive. And my third rider. I'm going to throw it out there and say Ayumu Sasaki, because he was right up there until that unfortunate crash.
But how many times has he done that?
A lot.
Yeah, I think Sasaki is too mental for his own good.
Yeah, I can agree there. Right, moving to Moto 2. Who are your 3, Keelan?
Number 1, and this is the least original person to put out of anybody.
Yeah, just copy and paste
a certain man from Lincoln, number 22. It's gonna be Sam Lowe's. It just is.
What a surprise!
Yeah, there's no real shock, but I am gonna go a little bit different from my other 2.
Okay.
My number 2 is gonna be Joe Roberts.
Yeah, I can back that.
I thought he did very well to get P6. He had to fight through a lot of traffic, and he did get back into it. And as for the 3rd, I'm gonna go Fabio Di Gianantonio.
Nice, yeah. I mean, it's a very good shout, obviously, after today's race result, where he was 3rd place. Right, Jacob, who are your Moto2 riders?
Lowe's,
Yeah.
Gardner, Fernandez.
Hernandez.
Raul, not Augusto.
Raul Fernandez. It's unfortunate what's happening with Augusto. I will say that.
He's not good at Qatar. Well, as soon as we come to Jerez, we'll see him near the top.
I want to see him up there. Really want to see him up there.
As soon as I don't know what it is about Qatar, but he just doesn't like the place. No. Last year, Manzi took him out, battling for the final point.
Oh dear.
Well, I say took him out, but he turned on Manzi. But either way, he crashed battling Manzi for the final point.
It's not.
He just doesn't like this place.
As long as that's all it is, because he was saying he was battling with the setup.
As soon as we come to Portimao / Jerez, we'll see him around top 6.
Okay, good. I'm going to hold you to that. Moto 2 for me, Sam Lowes. I mean, come on. Marco Bezecchi, because I just think he's got it. He's going to want blood. And then I'm going to back Joe Roberts as well.
I backed Joe and he disappointed me. So
Fair. Moving to MotoGP, who is obviously Maverick Vinales is the biggest surprise today. So
by far?
Who is your 3, Keelan?
Well, I had a picture of what next week was going to be, and then today happened, and it completely blew everything I was going to have out of the water.
Yeah.
Not just Ducati having a bullet on wheels and just being a complete rocket ship that blew away from the rest of the grid. And more importantly, Maverick Vinales was just next level good on a bike that we didn't think would do great. So, well, there's going to be at least one Ducati in the podium. There just is going to be. And it's a question of which Ducati that's going to be.
You got 6 to choose from.
I'm going to say Jack Miller.
No,
I think Miller's going to adapt, and I think he's going to come back and he's going to get a podium. I think Bagnaia, much as I have tremendous respect for him, I think he rode very negatively and Dovizioso-like, and you can't afford to do that. So I think Miller's going to put the pedal to the metal and get a podium.
Okay.
I'm going to throw Vinales out there again.
Yeah.
Just because he was so impressive, and he does always qualify pretty well generally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Vinales and Miller
qualifiers as well. That's the other worrying part.
Yeah.
So that's sort of negated.
And then the question really is, who's the third of those 3? I'll go a little left field and go for the man who got messed over today and go Joan Mir.
Okay, yeah.
And the reason I'm going to put Mir is because he showed us why he won the world title today. He went methodically and quietly climbing his way through the grid until he ended up in pole until the last turn on an apex that he took too wide. Don't count on him making that mistake again. My top 3, Vinales, Miller, Joan Mir.
Okay, perfect.
I agree with you.
And what are you going, Jacob?
I'm going to go Pecco.
Yeah.
Vinales.
Pecco, Vinales. Yeah.
Rins.
And Rins, okay, that's interesting.
I want to go Aleix.
Yeah.
And if he qualifies correctly and puts it on the first 2 rows, I think he can. I think he rode almost nervously today, bringing it home.
Yeah, trying to get that best result.
He didn't look like that Aleix Espargaro of giving it everything, giving it 110% and snapping the throttle cable.
Yeah.
It didn't look like that. And I don't know whether it's just a symptom of having to not override the bike, and that's his true style.
Yeah.
But if he can get it on the podium, if he can get in the first 2 rows, he can be in the mix for the first corner and then go.
It'd be interesting to see how his race pace is, though. That's
But his race pace was better than I thought it'd be.
Okay, interesting.
But I still think Rins.
He wants blood.
Well, not even that. I think if he's not, assuming he's not going to get hindered by a problem, because as I say, he must have been, then he's going to be on the podium. He was quicker than Mir today, up to a point.
Yeah.
So I can see him. Yeah, I'm going to go Pecco, Vinales, and Rins, but not in that order. Any order.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because we're not doing these in order. I just want to clarify. And then myself, I'm going to go. None of you have said him, and I'm really surprised you haven't said him. Johan Zarco.
I think Zarco got not lucky.
That is, you can't say that.
No, the chips fell for him today.
But the thing is, I think he can win it next weekend.
People are going to have learned lessons.
Oh yeah, everyone will have learned, but he'll have learned as well. Like,
and he's prone to overcooking it as well and crashing out.
Yeah.
That's my
The thing
concern with
is-
Zarco.
It's not even that. It's I can't see Zarco getting any better in terms of race pace. Whereas others, I think, can learn lessons from this. I think Zarco was at his peak.
Okay, interesting. So
But
yeah,
I can see why you'd say it, because he was bloody strong today.
yeah, it's very good. Yeah, so I'm saying Zarco, then Vinales again because he was just outstanding, and then Jack Miller because you hate him, and so I
don't hate him.
Yeah, right.
No, I genuinely, I don't.
Yeah, you're-
Some riders who think, oh, I don't want him on the podium. I'd love to see Miller on the podium.
Yeah, that's
just-
you say that now. Like,
I just don't see it happening.
okay,
I don't
well,
see a title.
I'm gonna see it. I'm seeing it happening. Jack Miller podium.
If he can learn his lessons,
Yeah.
then yeah, I would agree with you.
Okay, interesting. Well, that's all we've got time for in this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Make sure to give us a follow on our social media if you don't already. And we will be back next weekend following the second Qatar race for another round of the Everything Motor Racing podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.